Everything is know your numbers. That's the biggest mistake that young entrepreneurs make. You've got to understand your cost of sales, you want to understand your revenue, and you want to understand your profits. Everything is about liquidity in business, and if you don't know your numbers, know your receivables, know your payables, you'll never be successful. Not even in your home life will you be successful, because you need to know what your checkbook balance is.
I don't think God wants people to be poor. Poverty hurts. I mean, I don't like it. And today in the world is this gap between the rich and everybody else. And I know the game of the rich. The game the bankers and the rich play is different than what they teach you in school. And that's the story of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. You know, my Poor Dad, PhD, stands for Poor, Helpless, and Desperate. They don't know anything about money. And they're teaching our kids. I'm sitting in this classroom, and my MBA accounting teacher doesn't know accounting, and I'm going nuts. I'm not an accountant, but I knew he wasn't an accountant also, so I took him on. I said, "Are you an accountant?" He goes, "I have a master's in accountancy." I said, "That's not the question. Are you an accountant?" "I have a master's in accountancy." I said, "You're a fake. You don't know what you're talking about." And to this day, when I listen to what people are teaching kids about accountancy, it's bad accountancy. They count anything of value as an asset. They count your car as an asset, your house as an asset, when it's really taking money from your pocket. Your retirement plan, guess what? It's a liability. It's taking money from your pocket every month. And whose pocket does it go to? Wall Street. Assets put money in your pocket. Liabilities take money from your pocket. An asset is a noun, like a house. Cash flow is a verb. So to understand if it's an asset or liability, it takes a noun plus verb. So if the cash is flowing out of your pocket, it's a liability.
You could be anywhere doing a lot of different things, but you chose to be here.
Some shows don't need a celebrity narrator to introduce the show, but this show does. In a world filled with endless opportunities, why would two men who have built 13 multi-million-dollar businesses altruistically invest 5 hours per day to teach you the best practice business systems and moves that you can use? Because they believe in you, and they have a lot of time on their hands. They started from the bottom, now they're here. It's the Thrivetime show starring the former U.S. Small Business Administration's Entrepreneur of the Year, Clay Clark, and the entrepreneur trapped inside an optometrist's body, Dr. Robert Zillner. 2 men, 8 kids, co-created by 2 different women, 13 multi-million-dollar businesses.
We started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, now we're here.
Mr. Clyde started from the bottom, and now we're at the top, teaching you the systems to get what we got. Colton Dixon's on the hooks. I break down the books. Z's bringing some wisdom and the good looks. As the father of 5, that's why I'm alive. So if you see my wife and kids, please tell them hi. It's the CNC up on your radio, and now 3, 2, 1, here we go.
We started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we're here.
Yes, 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 and yes. Today, Thrive Nation, on today's show, we have the best show we have ever done. We are joined by the legendary best-selling author, Robert Kiyosaki. My team in the background's going nuts here, who changed my life with the writing of his book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And we have the man that manages the Trump Organization because his father is trying to save the free world, Eric Trump. Eric Trump, welcome on to the Thrive Time Show. How are you, sir?
How are you, my friend? And how are you, my other friend? I've known Robert for many years, and he's a dear friend of ours and families, and a guy I respect beyond belief. And I've read his book. I read it in college, actually. And I took one thing out of it, Robert. I took a lot of things out of it, but I took one key thing. Never treat your house as an asset. I think it's probably the smartest thing anybody's ever said. And so that was front and center all throughout that book. And it was great words of wisdom, but love you, buddy. It's great to reconnect and play. It's great to be here.
It's been a long time, Eric. A good, great
Long time.
friendship. It's fantastic.
So, Robert,
So-
I'm going to start with you. You're on the hot seat first. You teamed up with Eric Trump's father to write Why We Want You to Be Rich. You also wrote The Midas Touch, and you and President Donald J. Trump are friends. I got to ask you, what was it like working on a book with Donald J. Trump, and why did you two team up together to write those two books?
Well, first of all, it's life-changing. You get to know him personally. The most important thing, Eric, was your staff. You know, Rona and Meredith and all that. The team that your father had around him. Tremendously great people as individuals, most respectful people. Yeah. It was fantastic. And this is the picture here I've used, Make America Rich Again, with the two books. And Eric, he has the patch on his ear. This was the day after the RNC when he got shot. So we were sitting there talking about, because I flew in Vietnam, and we were talking about what it's like to have bullets coming at you. And I don't know how you guys take it. Congratulations to you and your family. I mean, you guys are the eye of the storm right now, and I'm proud of you all. I'm just so proud of you. Your father's got so much guts, and he and I are the same age. I get tired of watching him on TV. I get exhausted. How does he keep going?
I sent him a text message, this morning, and I just said, "Hey, you've literally energized all of America. Like, America's back. Like, our patriotism's back. Our energy is back. You watch what they do with Doge. I mean, every single day, Elon's finding another, $100 million in condoms for Gaza. $26 billion in this nonsense DEI project at some nonsense agency. I mean." Literally $50 billion in electrical bills and utility bills for government buildings that aren't even utilized. I mean, people are so sick and tired of it, and seeing them all day long go in there and quash the nonsense, shut it down. I mean, it's energized this country in such an incredible way. I mean, people were energized, obviously, throughout the whole election. There's no question. I mean, there was, it was one of the greatest victories in the history of this country. But now people are sitting there and watching exactly what you said, his energy. He's in the Oval Office, 18 hours a day, signing executive orders, trying to bring peace to the world, making sure that we're not ripped off. I mean, in 24 hours, he got Canada to cave, he got Panama to cave. I mean, the Belt and Roads Initiative was terminated. You know that very well. I mean, all of a sudden, all of these adversaries it's guys, it's just a beautiful thing to watch, and I'm proud of him. But I said to him in that text, I said, "Hey, just know I'm proud of you. Keep punching. Never, ever, ever stop punching." Not that I needed to tell him that. Believe me, there's no better puncher in the world. But no, Robert, he loves you to death. He's always loved you. You guys did a lot of great work together, and he's always considered you a great friend. And I know you've been proud of him. And Clay, you know this very well. You and I have spoken about this 1,000 times, but one of the things he told me right before he was going down that escalator is we're going to find out who our true friends were. And I have to say, we were disappointed by the vast majority. Robert is far from being in that category. In fact, I think when everybody, went the opposite way, I think Robert only became closer, and we appreciate him enormously for that.
Well, Eric and Robert, what I want to do today is I want to tap into the wisdom of both of you gentlemen, and during these 45 minutes we have you. So I'm going to come rapid fire, and I apologize if it feels like it's a machine gun, but here we go. So, Eric, when your father's not out there trying to save the free world, or when he is trying to save the free world, either way, you're running the Trump organization behind the scenes. That's what you're doing, and I don't think a lot of people know that. I mean, you're running the organization. There's thousands of employees, billions of dollars of assets. How do you organize your day, and what time do you start your day at this point, Eric?
Yeah. So I'm a 5 a.m. guy, always have been. I've never been a nighttime guy. I've always been a very early morning guy. Typically wake up right to the gym. Generally back in the gym around, 6:15 at the latest. Say hi to my kids and get to the office and start going. I'm a list maker. I believe in lists in order to, organize life. I think the biggest struggle that anybody in my position, again, I run some of the biggest hotels in the world, one of the greatest golf portfolios in the world, and I'm very heavily involved in the crypto world these days, building out some of the biggest platforms out there, and so many other things. I mean, residential buildings, commercial buildings, some of the biggest retail, deals, always acquiring assets, obviously kind of treasury management for our company, our family. not to mention just about every other function of our family and a lot of other things. I mean, time management is definitely the hardest thing that you have to deal with, right? And also kind of the diversity of problems. You might have a member problem 1 second. You might be refinancing a building 3 minutes later. You might be buying a building, 5 minutes later. You might be, working on a big, crypto deal an hour later, and you might. It's just the diversity of product that comes across my desk on a daily basis is pretty astronomical, and so, time management is really important, but I really do believe in lists. I believe in checking off items on a list. I believe in starting the day with the most important items that you have to accomplish no matter what. No matter what else you have to sideline, you have to accomplish 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And that's a big part of my life. And so, again, I'm an early bird, and I believe in organization and lists.
Now, Robert, this is your book. I've shown the listeners. This is what I do to Robert's books here. This is the Rich Dad Guide to Investing. And this is what happens when I read this thing. I mean, I just devour the notes. It's really unethical what I've done to the book here. It's just look at that. And then to-do list. I mean, Eric knows this. I have a surgically attached clipboard. It's always surgically attached to me. And I believe in these principles. And why I wanted to get you guys on the show together is I want to talk about the big picture, but I also want to talk about the small picture because so many people watch our show, Robert, and they're plumbers, doctors, dentists, people that want to become real estate investors, that they have businesses. So, Robert, you once wrote, a wise man by the name of Robert Kiyosaki once wrote, it's not about how much money you make, it's about how much money you keep. Could you help our listeners out there, the doctors, the dentists, the lawyers, the guys that are probably donating to Trump? They probably donated to Trump. They probably wanted to make America great again, but now they want to make their business great again. What would you say? What does that mean? It's not about how much money you make, it's about how much money you keep.
Well, again, it's study, like this. I'm so proud of you had my book this way. This is the other book here. This is The Creature from Jekyll Island, which is the Fed, who Eric's father is going after those crooks. Anyway, the bankers of the world. I want to say something about Eric and Don Jr. Their people skills are impeccable. And, we had this guy, Hunter Biden, who's a drug addict and a porno star. And it's like father, like son. So I remember Eric and Don Jr. and I are hunting on this private island in Hawaii. There's no running water, no toilets, nothing. They ask for nothing. And we go to this, and we go to a restaurant, and both young men, they're young boys at the time, almost boys yet, they walk in the back and they talk to the staff. So some of them were illegals and all this, and Don Jr. and Eric are talking to the staff. And I remember, one of your suitcases didn't show up on Kauai in Hawaii. So we had to go buy clothes for, I think, Don Jr. So Don Jr.'s checking out at Walmart or something on the island of Hawaii. And the girl goes, Donald Trump Jr. And both young men are so gracious. The number one skill they have are people skills. They're not arrogant. They're not cocky. It doesn't go to the head. And by the way, both boys can shoot. I mean, we were shooting at 700 yards and things like this. And they asked no quarter, no toilets, nothing. We're eating raw fish and all this stuff. They just keep going. Their people skills are impeccable. So that's what I want to say about it. Big success.
Now, Eric, I got to ask you this because the first time I'd ever been to the Trump Doral is when we hosted a Reawaken America event there, and I checked in, and the team that runs that property, it is next level. And I never objectively, I never went to the golf club under the previous management, but you guys renovated the entire thing. I've seen the photos. And it was the best experience from the time we pulled in to the time we left. And I remember you called me on our way out, and you called me and you said, Clay, was everything perfect? Quote, Eric Trump. You said, was everything perfect? And I told my wife, I said, not only was everything perfect, but Eric Trump actually called me to ask if it was perfect. And I just want to get your thoughts on that because somebody's watching today's show. They're a dentist, okay? They're a doctor, they're a lawyer, and they want their front desk guy, their front desk lady to greet people with that Trump level of quality. And your front desk guy nailed it. Your chauffeur nailed it. The valet folks nailed it. All of the hospitality staff nailed it. The golf cart people nailed it. Everybody on your team nailed it. Your audio-visual guys nailed it. How do you, brick by brick, Eric Trump, build an organization like that?
Yeah. So I hate the word kind of corporate culture because I think every company uses it, and I think 99% of companies get it just wrong. I also hate hiring from outside our company because so oftentimes when I do, I'm totally disappointed. The people in our company, I really do believe do it better. I always say if you're with our company for 6 months, you'll be with us for forever. And we've taken people, Clay. I've told you this story before, but I mean we've had general managers who used to drive me to school as a young kid who are now general managers of the biggest buildings, some of the most expensive, hotels anywhere on earth. And there are people that always had their hand up, right? Hey, we're about to build this building. We need to go out and take some architects to the piece of property, and I'll take them. Um, Unconventional choice, but yeah, Brian, go ahead, take them out, and then you're sending out bankers because you want to get financing. Oh, I'll show them around the property, and all of a sudden, hey, guess what? We need construction contractors. Oh, I'll go line up a bunch of contractors. They're the people who always had their hand up, and we prioritize that so much more than we do the Harvard MBA, and those are the people that always end up becoming stars. And we really grow people within a company. I mean, we've grown people from caddies to general managers of the most expensive, golf clubs in the nation. I told you the example of obviously, one of our general managers at the hotels. We really believe in that. But beyond that, we also believe in kindness and no games. We're the first people to laugh and have the greatest time. But I don't think you'll come across an employee in our company, at any property in our country that does, in our portfolio that doesn't know me personally. Doesn't have some level of relationship with me, doesn't have me in a picture, hasn't shaken hands with me 1,000 times, and we really, really prioritize that. Our employees aren't numbers; they're not just another name on a big Excel spreadsheet, as they are with so many of the big hospitality companies. I mean, these are people who truly are family to us. They feel like family to us. They've been with us forever. We've helped so many of them behind the scenes in so many unthinkable ways. Houses burn down, they lose everything. We replace them. We've done so many things like that, and it's built a culture of true love, and absolute professionalism and high standards. And it's very hard for companies to replicate that. It takes decades to do. This isn't something you could do in a 6-month period of time. It really takes a lot of time, but it also takes a lot of heart and soul. It takes a lot of meaningful effort. You can't fake this. It doesn't, right? People see sincerity. And I really think I have the best team in the world. It's why no one ever leaves the company. And I'm incredibly blessed and fortunate. And I think it's why the company runs so well, but it's also why in unthinkable times like politics, where they're doing everything they can to destroy your life, to destroy your family, to destroy your company, the company performed as well as it did, and really was able to sail through those rough seas kind of undeterred, is because I have an amazing team. And it's single-handedly the most important thing to me. Nothing even comes close.
Their people skills are impeccable. They're impeccable. I said, one of the first things that hit me when I went to work with, the great Donald Trump in New York, I'm going, wow. And it was his staff. It was Rona, Meredith, and your father's bodyguard, Keith. They're the most respectful people. And that's where it starts. I want to let you, I need to improve upon that, obviously, but boy, they're impeccable.
Hey, Rona was with us for 25 years, and Norma was with us for 30 years, and Keith was with us for at least 20 years. And no, it's you have to care. You have to care. You have to treat people well. You have to be able to laugh. You have to be able to take your job seriously, but you also have to give people flexibility in life. You have to be there in the darkest moments of their life. One of my guys, he just lost his father 2 days ago. Really sad case. This guy who's very close to me in our corporate office right here. His father was from New York. We didn't tell him anything about it. We loaded up the big Trump plane, and every single person from our corporate office flew to New York. And all of a sudden, we showed up and out in the middle of Long Island, and he sees us one by one walking in to his father's funeral, and he just couldn't believe it. Every single person in our corporate office, and he broke down in massive amounts of tears. And was it hard to get to? Yes, it was very hard to get to. Did we have much time to put the whole thing together? No, not at all. When he saw one person after the other walk in, right, that's what makes family. I was on a business trip 2 days ago when a little girl of one of our people who's in interior design got super sick and had to be rushed to the emergency room. One of our department heads here in this office that I'm sitting in right now went to the hospital, spent the entire night with the baby on her chest. This is another colleague's baby literally on her chest. They were sending pictures to all of us every hour. it doesn't happen at most organizations. People wouldn't want to give up their night. They wouldn't want to give up that glass of wine, the time with their own kids, the time with their husbands. And again, it's not something you can fake. I mean, every company brags about it, but most of the companies that brag about it are totally full of crap, right? They do so with a couple catchy words, that's written in some pamphlet. We don't have those pamphlets. We're there, we do the right thing, and it truly is a very large family, and I'm incredibly proud of that.
Now, Robert, I wanted to brag on Eric. I want you to hear this story. This is a true story. Eric,
stop bragging on me, guys. It makes me totally uncomfortable. I do much better when people throw fire and hate at me than when people brag.
I'll throw hate on you at the very end.
All right, perfect. Throw hate on me.
But no, you and I did 20 plus of these Reawaken America events together. And what would happen is we would go into a city, and specifically we were going to Oregon. And so we go to Oregon, and we're talking a week before the event. I find out that the local venue caved because of the political pressure, and they canceled the event. So I contacted my wife. I contacted everyone I could think of, and I found a guy with a minor league baseball stadium. And he said, you could rent my parking lot. And I got a quote. It's going to be $600,000 to erect a structure, but I can get it done. That's the only way. And we'd already sold the tickets. Eric, you were already coming. And what gave me confidence, Eric, is I knew that you would be there because for the Pennsylvania Reawaken event, I think you had a flight that got canceled and you drove there in a rental car. And
was this Portland?
Yeah, that was in Portland.
Yeah, remember, we also had Antifa that were trying to attack us for doing absolutely nothing wrong. And Clay calls me up. Robert, you'll love this. Clay calls me up, and there's like a big Antifa. He's like, we have a little Antifa problem. I would understand if you didn't want to show up. I go, no, I'm committed to this event. Like, I'm going to go. If we have to get in a fight with Antifa, I guess we're going to be, but no, I promise you I was going to be somewhere. And if I said we're going to be somewhere, we're going to be somewhere. And that was, it was actually a beautiful event, Clay. That was pretty amazing. The love in that blue state was astronomical. It was, one of the most memorable of the whole series.
Well, this ties into a question I have for Robert Kiyosaki. Robert Kiyosaki, a wise man by the name of Robert Kiyosaki, once wrote, "Winners fail until they succeed. Losers quit when they fail." I have these kinds of quotes in my mind all the time, whether it's a Donald J. Trump quote, where it's, if you're going to be thinking, you might as well be thinking big, or it's a Robert Kiyosaki quote of, "Winners fail until they succeed. Losers quit when they fail." I just want to see if you could speak life into the entrepreneurs watching this that may be up against something, a tough payroll, a tough inflation situation they're fighting, a tough competitor. What do you say, Robert?
Well, life is about problems, you know what I mean? And the problems are gifts. So they challenge you to get smarter, better, challenge yourself. And I meet some academic. I'm glad your father wants to shut down the Department of Education on top of U.S. aid. I'm going, God, they're a bunch of criminals. I mean, our test scores are going down and they want more money. I mean, that's criminal. But anyway, our school systems really need to teach lessons such as that, not this woke stuff and we're all losers and guys, the white guys like you guys pick on us. I'm going, so what? That's life. Grow up. And I think that's really what is necessary, is that I don't know what's going wrong inside our academic systems, but I've always been after them. So when your dad, Eric, said he's going to shut down U.S. aid, I mean, those guys are assisting the guys coming across the border. And then the Department of Education, my God, we don't need enemies. You know what I mean? We don't need enemies, but your father has the guts to take them on. So when you see him, tell him I'm proud of him. I'm very proud of him.
Well, hey, when USAID decides to give hundreds of millions of dollars to Pakistan, all while they're harboring Osama bin Laden about 300 yards away from their equivalent of our West Point, when they're sending $100 million to Gaza for condoms, when they're sending money to every country who's absolutely ripping us off, who is buying every product from China, who's buying Iranian oil, who's buying Venezuelan oil, who's buying Russian oil, who's we protect, who's putting tariffs on the United States, who won't import American products, who won't visit this country, who send us nothing in the time of natural disasters and other issues that we have right here. Yet we have hundreds of billions of dollars going out the door to them, and it's infuriating. Obviously, it's infuriating to you, Robert. Believe me, it's infuriating to me and my father, and frankly, any sane-minded person in this country. Who would much rather see those resources allocated to our own society. And it's, the good news is, my friend, Those days are over. those days are over. And Elon tweeted out something a couple days ago, which is we need to find $4 billion a day, and we'll have zero inflation by the end of the year. We want to find at least $4 billion of savings a day, and I think they're well ahead of that mark right now, and it's music to my ears. I mean, it's awesome. It's awesome.
Eric, it's more than saving money. You're stopping people who are anti-American.
Of course.
That is so courageous. I have a
Well,
question.
and there's a second part to that, Robert, too. I mean, so much of the cost-saving measures actually comes with kind of redeploying, the usefulness of people, right? And you have 2.5 million government employees, and the vast majority of them don't even go to work. They haven't showed up at work, and they're work from home, and they don't have much of a job. They're working second, third jobs in so many cases, and this kind of bloat on top of bloat on top of bloat, and that's not the case of all, but but many. And by cutting out that inefficiency, then guess what? That person's going to become the next entrepreneur. That person's going to go find and create the next product. They're going to come up with the next innovation. They're going to, use the time that was otherwise wasted as being paid for by the U.S. government to go achieve something great, to work in private industry, to go create the next widget or the next small business. And you're actually going to see kind of a talent flourish. Out of frankly necessity, because people, guess what, they need to make a living, and I actually think that's not just a beautiful thing for this country. Efficiency, production, productivity. I actually think it's a beautiful thing for them personally, because I think they're going to be a hell of a lot more fulfilled building something, creating something, being part of a team that makes something than they would otherwise getting a blank check from a government. Which is underutilizing that very talent.
Now, I want to ask you guys this question real quick, because this is a business question, but I promise this relates to what you guys were talking about. You have this legendary management philosopher, Peter Drucker. Many people have read his work. I know I have. And he talks about what gets measured improves, or what gets measured gets managed, or you measure what you treasure. You could have all different ways to say the same thing, but it's really what gets measured gets done. And I find that, Eric, you're fastidious about tracking things. So are you, Robert Kiyosaki. And now you're seeing the Doge and Elon Musk. They're tracking. They're looking for government waste. And both of you appear to be disappearing. So I was talking to Laura. I was on the phone with Laura, your incredible wife there, Eric. And I said, your husband is looking more aerodynamic. What is going on? Because your wife is a fitness champion of some sort. So she's like a freak athlete. I mean that in a good way. And she said he flipped the switch. He's all in now, Clay. I knew he flipped the switch. He's all in. And Eric, I mean, you've been dialed in on this diet where it seems like you're really measuring what you're eating. You're really focused. Your father appeared to be evaporating as he was getting closer to the election time. He appeared to be getting younger. I mean, everybody was commenting. He looks 10 years younger as he's getting closer to the election. Robert Kiyosaki, you're also locked in on a health kick here. So I want to go to you, Eric, first on this. What role has dialing in on your personal fitness had in your life here in the last few years? Because it's been noticeable. I know it's a big part of your life. Talk to us about that.
So I never really cared. When I lived in New York, and I think it's just different to the lifestyle. I just, I didn't prioritize. It's not that I didn't go to the gym. It's not that I didn't work out. It's not that I ate terribly, but I just didn't prioritize in my life the way I do now. 6 days a week, I'm up at the end about 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'm in the gym. I was in the gym this morning. I was doing leg day this morning, and I push very hard. I believe in the weights over the cardio stuff, and I also believe in kind of the heavy protein diets, and over eating Cheerios. I just kind of I don't know. I think that goes back to your paleo roots of I just believe that there's probably more substance in in protein than in so much of the crap. I'm a big RFK guy actually in terms of what he wants to do in terms of health right now. But no, listen, I think changing diet, changing patterns, and consistency in life has just been absolutely kind of pivotal in my own life, in my frame of reference every day, in general mood, happiness, energy levels, so many other things, and ability to fight off cold, sickness. I mean, you see so many different elements after you've done it for a couple of years of your life improve.
Yeah.
When you actually take care of yourself, and it definitely. And my wife, as you know, I mean, she's a massive CrossFitter, big triathlete. I mean, she's as you said, she's superhuman. She's fantastic, but no, it's become a big part of my life, and it's I wish I would have maybe found it 10 years earlier. Not that I was
But
a mess by any means, but
you've blocked it into your schedule now, though, where you're working out 6 days a week, and then you're pretty much just eating high protein. Is that correct?
yeah, I mean, listen, consistency in anything, consistency in business and consistency in work effort, whatever you want to put your mind to, be consistent in what it is, and you're going to succeed. Those little wins every single day compound and compound and compound. And that compounding effort and effect create something that's very special in life. I really believe in consistency, and a lot of people aren't. I mean, a lot of people will wake up 5 o'clock one morning because they have to, and they'll wake up at 11 a.m. The next day. I think it's really hard for for habits to be consistent when you have these massive kind of variations in life. And so I try and be very formulaic in life. It's probably part of my OCD ADD personality. I think it's why I'm very good at building, right? It has to be. It's there's sequence, and that's just become a big part of the sequence of my life.
Robert Kiyosaki, you have been really aggressive about fitness. You've actually done interviews where you've talked about it. And again, I want to go back to this idea that whether you're talking about a business, growing your barber shop, or growing your jewelry store, or growing your real estate portfolio, we do have to treasure what we measure. We measure what we treasure. We do have to do that. I want to get your thoughts about fitness and just your approach right now, Robert, because I know it's a big part of your life.
Well, my message is that what you spend, not how much money you make, what you spend it on. And I spend it on coaches. I'm basically lazy. I know that I'm Hawaii. I'm a surfer. So I want to hire somebody who's going to kick my butt. And my assistant Sandra hires these guys, and they're all about your age, but man, they have no mercy on my body. And they have me doing exercises and this. And so I spend my money on people who will push me farther than I would go on my own. And so I'm a very big advocate of coaches, having people who will ask you to do what you're not willing to do. That's my secret.
Eric, what's your thought on that? Advisors, consultants, obviously it's national news every time your father brings in an advisor into administration. You mentioned Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who's really looking into the relationship between vaccination and autism. He's discussing red dye 40. He's talking about Pop-Tarts. He's talking about genetically modified food. He wants to make America healthy again. They bring him in. That's headline stories. They bring in people like Peter Navarro, good friend of ours, mutual friend of ours, to help revive the economy. Every time your father brings in an advisor for the White House, it's headline news. But I know you surround yourself, too, with people you can trust. And I do believe fundamentally that you do become the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. What are your thoughts on coaches and your fitness, or advisors in your business?
Well, listen, it certainly helps to have a coach kick your butt in the gym, right? Because I don't care who you are, you're just not going to push yourself as hard as somebody will otherwise push you, right? That last rep, the one that really matters. If somebody pushes you to do it, you probably would have given up and put the bar back on the rack and not done it just out of your own personal comfort. And having somebody who will make you do 3 more, no question, that's great. At the same time, I'm a little bit leery of certain coaches, and this comes out of a place of cynicism. The amount of political consultants that tried to enter our lives. Hey, you should do this. You'd have some 24-year-old kid who labeled himself a political consultant and knew nothing about politics. And if you followed their advice, my father would have been thrown out of the race in about 2.5 seconds. He wouldn't have won. He wouldn't have done anything. And there is a point that you also have to go with your own gut. I can't tell you how many industries that we've entered over the years where we knew nothing about the industry, and we went in and took over that industry by storm based on the fact that we used good common sense. Practical thinking. I went into the wine world. Every wine consultant wanted to be our best friends, and they wanted to be on retainer. We did a lot of it ourselves, and with great people, obviously, but we did it all ourselves without taking the advice. And I built maybe the largest wine operation on the East Coast of the United States as a person who was never in that world. And again, a lot of that was using kind of common sense. So I think you need to pick and choose. I think you need to be worried about, the person who consults because they can't do. I often ask that question, if you're so good at doing, why are you consulting every single day? And there's a lot of those people, and God knows Robert probably comes across more of them in the business world than I do, because there's a lot of kind of phonies out there. Robert's a special guy because he's a legitimate doer. who wants to kind of share his knowledge with the rest of the world, right? My father was the same way in so many of his books. And but just be careful of the person who doesn't actually do. But I have plenty of college professors like that. It's if you're so good at high finance, why aren't you in high finance? Like I'm trying to figure this out, and the reality. So you in life you got to be careful of the phonies you do, because there's plenty of them that exist. At the same time, there are certain things and certain times that people can push you to limits that you could have never pushed yourselves to. And when you can find the right person that can harness that in you and get you that last extra rep, can make you do that last kind of task. By God, that can create that can be a deadly combination in the positive. And so, it's I hope that makes sense, Clay.
Well, I'm going to pull this up. Yeah, Robert, I want to pull this up real quick here, sir. Both of you guys, by the way, you need another speaking event like you need a hole in the head. But I called both of you guys, and you lowered your standards, and you said, yes, I'll come join you. And so you're going to be coming to Tulsa, Oklahoma on March 6th and 7th. And what we're going to do is we're going to do kind of a Q&A format where Eric, our audience of business owners, we're talking doctors, dentists, lawyers. These are real people. We don't have any charlatans in the room. There's no gotcha questions. These are real business owners, and they're going to want to tap into your wisdom because they want to make their American business great again. They know Donald J. Trump's in the White House fighting every day to deregulate our economy and to create opportunities. But they want to know, how can I make my jewelry store, my dentistry, my pet grooming company, how can I make that successful? So I want to go to you, Robert. I want to get your thoughts on this. I'll ask you the same question, Eric. What should every business owner watching today's show do to make their business great again?
Well, that's why I was going to plug this event. I'm looking forward to being with you and Eric. But my real coach is on there, Tom Wheelwright, and he is a real CPA. But he does run a business, and like I said, in Hawaii, I grew up lazy. Lazy was the key to success in Hawaii. And Tom, I hated accounting. I just hated accounting. So Tom has been my coach, getting me to get over the hate of accounting and numbers and all that. And because of Tom, I created the cash flow board game. And so because every entrepreneur's got to know the numbers. You can ask Eric, isn't that true? You've got to know your numbers. But a lot of times entrepreneurs hate numbers because they just want to do stuff. And so Tom is my real coach, and he's going to be there. He is a real CPA, and he is a real entrepreneur. And I think those are the keys to success: is choose your advisors and your friends carefully. I mean, Eric's been hunting with my friends and I. We're good friends. We're close friends, and we also work together. Not work together, but we support each other. We kick each other's butts. Come on, get your numbers up. Do this, do that. And I think that's the key to success: your friends and your advisors, and who you spend time with. We just said that's true, Eric. I mean, you don't waste your time, do you?
No, and honestly, the most impressive people that I've found in life. I mean, a couple contractors come to mind. I have he's done a lot of work for a company, but he's a guy who owns a nice contracting business. And here's a guy on a Saturday morning at 6 o'clock. He'd go up to the construction site. And he'd be on a backhoe alone, and he'd be digging a footer. He'd be, laying rebar, and he doesn't have any workers around him. He's a lone warrior. He's out there doing it. Now, this is the guy who also owns the company. But be very wary of the people who kind of want to manage but don't want to do. Everybody wants to be a manager. No one wants to be a doer. Be incredibly impressed by the people who have the ability to not only manage but also do themselves. And Robert knows this. I mean, my father put us on construction sites when we were 11. I will go run electrical conduit with the best of them right now. I will run all the electrical in a house that's just studs right now with my eyes closed. I did it every summer. I would do plumbing work. I would do carpentry with the best of them. I could run machine. He literally wanted to kind of ingrain that in us. And we see so many contractors now who will try and rip us off. And we actually have the skills and we understand the lingo. And listen, that hole is not going to take you 9 hours to dig. It's going to take you about an hour. And the reason I know this is I've been in that hole, digging that hole. I that tree is not going to cost $4,000 to cut down. You know why? Give me that chainsaw right now, and I'll have it on the ground in about 2 minutes. And be careful of the people who are able to manage, but are also willing to hop in that trench and get things done. but also be very leery of the person who just wants to be the kind of conductor for a bunch of people who also want to be the conductor, who want to be the conductor for people who also want to be the conductor. It doesn't work, right? That system breaks down very quickly. And so, I've always found that in life, find the people who can, and elevate those people.
Now, 7 minutes to go and two final questions. So here we go, Eric. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, the BRICS bloc. They've been hoarding the Earth's gold for the past 17, almost 18 years in preparation to introduce some sort of gold-backed currency. Your father recently posted on Truth Social that, and I'm summarizing, I'm paraphrasing, that he's aware of BRICS, and that BRICS needs to dial back this rhetoric of trying to replace the dollar as the world's reserve currency. Robert Kiyosaki, you talk about it often on your Rich Dad radio show and podcast. So I want to get your thoughts, Eric, on the future of money. Kind of a big topic, but what are your thoughts on the future of money, specifically gold and crypto, sir?
Oh God, where do you want me to start, Clay? I mean, I literally, I could take that, I could run with that for the next 9 hours. So I'm going to try and synthesize it. First of all, my father's going to stop BRICS. It's insane, and Biden let them get away with it because they continue to support countries using foreign aid, including from USAID, an agency my father shut down yesterday, as we were just talking about. All the while they were trying to diminish the U.S. dollar, which would be just devastating for the national economy. I mean, if the U.S. dollar is the world's the currency, and it will continue to be. The U.S. dollar is what everybody wants to be on. And China will not replace that. You better believe they will not, under Donald Trump, replace that in any way, shape, or form. At the same time, we have an antiquated financial system in this country. There's no question about that. If I want to send a wire to you, Clay, it would, it's going to probably show up tomorrow at some point. If you want to buy a watch from somebody in Switzerland, good luck coordinating two banks, a U.S. bank and a Swiss bank, to try and make that transaction happy. First of all, it's going to take you forever. The money will probably get lost. You'll get crammed down with fees. You could probably take cash over to Switzerland, you can get that watch before the actual transaction was completed. And so I'm a big believer in the crypto world. I believe in DeFi, decentralized finance. I don't think that there's anything on blockchain that can't be done better. That can be done in these major financial institutions. I think half the space that they consume is a total waste. They're still on, paper, no different than every doctor's office in this country. Why are you filling out manual kind of, credit applications if you want to go get a home loan? If I've got 5 times the amount of assets, over the value of my home, why am I waiting 120 days and doing know your customers and doing all this nonsense, and giving them every single detail in my life in order to, to borrow a couple bucks so I can buy my first house, or, a young couple can buy their, first business. It's absolutely insane. The financial system is slow. It's costly, it's antiquated, it doesn't function, it still operates on 9 to 5, and it makes no sense in the days of kind of modern cryptocurrencies and frankly just modern technology. And so it's a project I spend a lot of time on right now. We're building out one of the great kind of DeFi, CeFi networks in cryptocurrency called World Liberty Financial. But ultimately the goal is to kind of replace traditional financial systems and make them a hell of a lot better, function better, and a hell of a lot more efficient and cheaper and user friendly. And by the way, less punitive to the little guy, right? I mean, Robert and I have a hell of a lot better advantage of getting traditional financing than, somebody that doesn't have nearly as many zeros on their balance sheet as we do. And, that shouldn't be the case. And so, that's my 1.5 minute spiel on where I sit on the U.S. dollar and the future of finance.
And that's World Liberty Financial, correct? World Liberty Financial?
That's right.
Okay. Robert Kiyosaki, final question for you, sir. Again, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. Most people haven't heard this before. They are hoarding the Earth's gold in preparation for trying to unseat the U.S. dollar as the world's reserve currency. President Trump says it's not going to happen. What are your thoughts on these countries hoarding gold and the future of money?
Well, money is very important. I sit here with this in front of me every day. It's $10 million Zimbabwe dollars. And if we do get some integrity in that dollar, which Donald J. Trump will bring to it, we're in trouble. So we've got to get integrity back in the dollar. And I'm old enough, this is a 1964 Kennedy half dollar. I think it's a half dollar. It's the last silver coin we had. And what happened in 781 was Nixon took the dollar off the gold standard and the dollar became debt. And so debt is out of control now. So I'm really proud of Donald J. Trump and the Trump family, because we've got to put integrity back in our money. If we don't do that, the bricks will run all over us.
Yeah. Eric Trump.
Wait, can I just jump in there for 1 second? I mean, so much, I don't care who you are around the world, you want the US dollar right now. They tried to create a stable coin over in Europe, and guess what? No, backed by obviously one-to-one kind of digital currency based on the euro. And guess what? Less than 1% of Europeans wanted the European stablecoin. Guess what they wanted? They wanted the US dollar. Go try and sell, the yen or any of the Asian currencies over in Asia. Guess what? They don't want it. You know what they want? They want the US dollar. Go down to South America, go to Argentina, go to any of these places. They don't want their pesos. They don't want their currencies. You know what they want? They want the US dollar. That's a beautiful thing for this country. And that's what's going to save our currency. And we have the greatest currency in the world. The problem, as Robert alluded to, is when you're sending trillions and trillions of dollars on absolutely nothing a year, when you're sending $200 billion every 2 minutes over to Zelensky over Ukraine, so that beautiful young Russian and Ukrainian boys can shoot each other in the head at point blank ranges and trenches. When you fail to invest in your own infrastructure, when you fail to invest in your own country, when you become kind of drunk pirates in the way that you spend and your fiscal responsibility, that's what causes that Zimbabwe dollar. And by the way, Robert, since you held up that, $10 million note, it's probably worth half of that in the last 10 minutes since we've spoken, because their inflation is absolutely out of control. Biden allowed that to happen. He allowed that to happen with the war on energy. He allowed that to happen with his reckless spending. We have to have normalized inflation, 1.5% inflation, 1% inflation, max 2% inflation. We've got to get back to the fundamentals of our economy, and we can do so long as we stop the BS. That's exactly what you've seen over the last week. The bullshit has ended, and that's going to prop up this U.S. economy.
Eric, and I was in Zimbabwe when it collapsed. I was on a hunting trip out there, and they call them the war vets. They started taking over white farmers' ranches and things like this. It's terrible.
If you go to Victoria Falls, and you've been there, and I've been there, but if you go to Victoria Falls, you can literally, as you're walking across the falls, you'll have some kid come up and ask you for $1 to sell you like a $1 trillion Zimbabwe note. And it's because they had compounding 1,000% inflation over and over and over again on a monthly basis for a period of 15 years. And it can't happen. We can't allow that to happen to the United States of America. Listen, we lose the entire value of our country if we're not if we're not the predominant sought after currency of the world. That's why BRICS is a massive threat to the United States. The good news is we're still the biggest economy. We're the largest. Everybody wants to trade with the United States because not only are we the largest economy, we've got the most wealth. We consume the most products. And congratulations, you want to try and embrace BRICS? We're not going to trade with you. We're not going to buy your crap. We're not going to buy your product. Congratulations, those countries are out of business, right? And anytime anybody kind of is critical of these tariff threats or tariff wars, I can't tell you how effective they've been, because they've stopped that in its tracks. They stopped it in its tracks because guess what? BRICS isn't more important to those countries than the United States consumer. It's just not. The United States consumer will win every single day because it's more powerful. And it's nice to see that come to kind of a screeching halt. But Robert, throw some fire in on this one, because I know you're incredibly passionate about this topic.
Yeah, I'm very passionate. When I was in Zimbabwe and it collapsed, I still have nightmares thinking about it. The whole place came apart, and then the warlords took over.
Yeah,
they started taking over white farmers' ranches and all this. It was terrifying. I was there for like 3 weeks, just going, "What the hell is happening?" And I said, "Am I looking at America as we keep printing money?"
Well, sad in so many of those countries, kind of warlords took over, farms and other things in so many cases. And, that farmer knew every inch of that piece of property. They knew if they planted a soybean or, corn or, whatever their crop was, sunflowers, they knew exactly how it was going to react based on the weather, based on, guess what, their families had been doing it for 200 years. And, all of a sudden these rebel groups came in, they confiscated the land. Oftentimes they killed the farmer. And all of a sudden the productivity of those farms went to hell because they didn't have that institutional knowledge. It's not surprising. It's somebody did a hostile takeover of the Trump organization. They probably wouldn't know how to run the company. They wouldn't know what to do. They'd probably be flying a little bit blind. And that's what happened in those countries. And it was horrible. So you see that saw the productivity of a country that was doing phenomenally well, just absolutely tank. And you wonder why that Zimbabwean notes, I mean, Robert, I don't even think that one's probably worth a penny. I think they had the last time I checked, I think they had like $1 trillion note, and that $1 trillion note would buy you like a soda at like a gas station. I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, their currency is absolutely, it's not worth the paper that it's printed on, but that's hyperinflation, and no, it's not going to happen to the United States. In fact, the exact opposite is going to happen to the United States. We're gonna build the value of our currency and make it the strongest currency in the world, and we can do that digitally as well through the cryptocurrencies, which I think is one of the great saviors of the American dollar.
I'm heading for Zimbabwe this summer, and it's sad because when the warlords took over, production dropped. And that made it exacerbated. It just got worse and worse. And they haven't recovered. And I was in South Africa talking to a group there. And this woman stood up, and she was from Zimbabwe. She says, "You South Africans don't see it. The same thing's happening here." Do you know what I mean? And I say that to Americans. If we don't protect our currency, the country goes. So that's what your dad and your family is doing, Make America Great Again. We've got to protect our currency because we keep printing it, running up massive debt. We're finished too.
Eric, I want to respect the time that you and Robert have, and I want to make sure I direct people to take some strong calls to action. So first off, if you're wanting to know what you can pray for Eric Trump about, just go to his Twitter. Go to x.com/Eric Trump and just read the comments, and then therefore people will know what to pray for you about there, Eric. But again, you're a very measured man on your social media. It's a great place to follow you there. That's x.com/Eric-Trump. To learn more about Robert Kiyosaki and his passion to help you exit the rat race and to help you escape the rat race, go to richdad.com. That's richdad.com. As of right now, we have 18 tickets left for this incredible event, Make Your Business Great Again, Make Your American Business Great Again. That's March 6th and 7th in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I affectionately refer to Tulsa as Tulsa, Jerusalem, but it's Tulsa, Oklahoma, March 6th and 7th. You can get your tickets at thrivetimeshow.com. And to learn more about worldlibertyfinancial.com, go to worldlibertyfinancial.com. Eric, I'll go to you for a final take, and then Robert Kiyosaki. So Eric Trump, final word from you, sir.
Can you pull back up that invitation, Clay?
Yes, I'll pull it up real quick here. Let me pull it up right now. And here we go, pulling it up and scrolling it down. There we go. Yep.
My final take to all the people out there is Clay picked the absolute worst picture of me that I've ever seen. I think I just saw a ghost or something there. Clay, come on. Look how good Robert looks. By the way, Clay, you don't look that great in that picture. You've got better pictures of yourself. But, look how good Robert looks, and look how good that other guy on the right looks. Look how bad Clay looks, and look how bad I look. Come on,
Clay. Listen.
Pull it together, brother.
I have a poster in my office that you've seen, Eric. It's right behind me on my glass screen, right behind my glass window here. And it says, I quoted you, it's Eric quote, and it says, "My name is Eric Trump, and I haven't approved this message, but I might if I've read it, and I'll still find something wrong with it." So I appreciate your eye for detail, and that will be fixed here with the—
You're blurry, Clay. Look at you. You're blurry, and you look angry.
Maybe it's your Zoom angle, but we'll fix it in 90 seconds. Okay, so Robert Kiyosaki, sir, what's your final word there, sir?
Oh, the most important you have is your education, what you put in your head. So we've always constantly importing data and information. So that's why I'm looking forward to Tulsa, because I go there to learn also. I'm not one of these speakers who knows it all. I come to learn. So I ask that you come to Tulsa and learn to learn. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for carving out time. Eric, I'll send you an updated flyer in T-minus 30 minutes, and you will love it. And no Photoshop will be needed. I'll just find a great photo of your cranium, and we'll get that updated for you.
Love you, buddy.
Take care,
Robert. Great to see both of you. Bye, guys.
Looking forward to seeing you again. Thank you, my friend. Clay, my honor to be on your show. And thank you for all you do. I hear the ripple effects from you are good ripple effects. You know what I mean? People rave about what they learned from you. So congratulations.
And we went from expecting maybe 250,000 this year to we're at 400,000. Hi, I'm Kelsey with K&D's Woodward Finishing, business owner at 23. So I've been working this K&D's company for about 5 years now, and we started working with Thrive not too long ago. And we went from expecting maybe 250,000 this year to we're at 400,000. That's what we're going to hit or exceed. So we're pretty excited about that. It's been pretty much just listening to what they have to say. Their hiring process has just really been incredible as far as finding good quality help, and the just the accountability of meeting up with them weekly, and like such good insight, the resources that they have for specific business questions. It's all been really incredible. It's been a great experience, so I would recommend it to anybody.
Hi, I'm Amy Cheney. My husband and I are owners of Cheney Construction here in Pampa, Texas. And I was a little skeptical at first because my husband's tried to do things like this before. But once I was able to speak with Clay myself, I thought we need to give this a chance. So we were able to determine that the savings that we have from the decision that we made each month is going to be roughly about $2,000 a week, so it's about $8,000 a month. Plus we also made the decision to get rid of a billboard that hadn't really brought us any business, and that was another $475 a month. So we're looking at $8,500 a month, and that's a really big deal. So my first thoughts when Clay introduced us to the weekly Know Your Numbers system was, no big deal, we don't need to do that. We have a secretary that's an amazing QuickBooks person, and so she enters all of that stuff every single day for us. So we don't need to do that ourselves. QuickBooks will pull a report, that's all we need. We don't need anything else. There's no sense in me double duty. Clay, do you understand how many transactions are in our bank statement every single month? It would take me forever to do. So very resistant, because I thought, we already know our numbers. We already have everything into QuickBooks, and we already know what we need to know, and we can pull a report to provide you with that information. So some of the struggles in being able to complete this action item were getting the want to do it. Once I actually decided, okay, Clay, you can stop asking me. I'm actually going to sit down and do this every single week, and actually got through it. That was it. Like, I've made that commitment. It takes me maybe 20 minutes on, every Saturday morning to go in and do the previous weeks. Now that I've been doing it for a while, I'm kind of on a roll, and so it makes it a lot easier. So one of the things we discovered when we started looking at the money this closely was that my husband doesn't want to know the numbers, first of all. He pays good money to have someone do that for him because he just doesn't want to know. It's not his thing. And so I had worked for an accountant previous to this, so that's kind of my thing. So for him to be able to sit down and take a look and see some of the things we're spending money on that he probably didn't even realize, or to realize how much we've been paying some employees that were not operating as A players. And that was the big eye-opener for my husband. But when he saw the numbers of what we were paying in payroll expenses for two team members that were not operating as A players and hadn't been for quite some time, that was a huge eye-opener for him, and he realized that he needed to take that emotion out of that decision and make it a business decision. It's accountability for your secretary as well, or your bookkeeper, whoever does your books, especially if it's not yourself, because if you've not ever had anybody embezzle money from you, then you're very fortunate. So it's really good to have that accountability. We've had that happen in the past to us, and so my secretary's actually even come back to me and said, hey Amy, I really appreciate that you're doing this now, because now at the end of the month, if there's not any money, then you know exactly where the money's went. You and Jimmy have known exactly where the money's gone. So we're not coming to her going, where's all our money? Because that's not a good position for her to be in either. So like I said, just knowing where your dimes are going is a huge deal, and being able to know where to cut back from, that's a big deal, but also the accountability for everyone on your team.
My name is Danielle Sprick, and I am the founder of D Sprick Realty Group here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. After being a stay-at-home mom for 12 years and my 3 kids started school and they were in school full-time, I was at a crossroads and trying to decide what what do I want to do? My degree and my background is in education, but after being a mom and staying home and all of that, I just didn't have a passion for it like I once did. My husband suggested real estate. He's a home builder, so real estate and home building go hand in hand, and we just rolled with it. I love people, I love working with people, I love building relationships, but one thing that was really difficult for me was the business side of things. The processes and the advertising and marketing. I knew that I did not have what I needed to make that what it should be. So I reached out to Clay at that time, and he and his team have been extremely instrumental in helping us build our brand, help market our business, our agents, the homes that we represent. Everything that we do is a direct line from Clay and his team and all that they've done for us. We launched our brokerage, our real estate brokerage, 8 months ago. And in that time, we've gone from myself and one other agent to just this week, we signed on our 16th agent. We have been blessed with the fact that we right now have just over 10 million in pending transactions. 3 years ago, I never would have even imagined that I would be in this role that I'm in today, building a business, having 16 agents. But I have to give credit where credit's due, and Clay and his team and the business coaching that they've offered us has been huge. It's been instrumental in what we're doing. Don't ever limit your vision. When you dream big, big things happen.
I started a business because I couldn't work for anyone else. I do things my way. I do what I think is in the best interest of the patient. I don't answer to insurance companies. I don't answer to large corporate organizations. I answer to my patient, and that's it. My thought when I opened my clinic was I can do this all myself. I don't need additional outside help in many ways. I went to medical school. I can figure this out. But it was a very, very steep learning curve. Within the first 6 months of opening my clinic, I had a $63,000 embezzlement. I lost multiple employees. Clay helped us weather the storm of some of the things that are just a lot of people experience, especially in the medical world. He was instrumental in helping with the specific written business plan. He's been instrumental in hiring good quality employees, using the processes that he outlines for getting in good talent, which is extremely difficult. He helped me in securing the business loans. He helped me with web development and search engine optimization. We've been able to really keep a steady stream of clients coming in because they found us on the web. With everything that I encountered, everything that I experienced, I quickly learned it is worth every penny to have someone in your team that can walk you through and even avoid some of the pitfalls that are almost invariable in starting your own business. I'm Dr. Chad Edwards, and I own Revolution Health and Wellness Clinic.
What I've seen from Clay and his group at Thrive is they'll give you a simple system, and it's the simple systems are the ones that people can wrap their brain around. They're the ones that people can work with on a day-to-day basis.
Hi there, my name is Stephanie Pipkin. I am 24 years old and I own Black River Falls Cleaning Services. We opened in April of 2019 and it is now mid-June of 2020. So I wanted to talk today about the success and growth I have achieved by implementing the Proven Path with Clay Clark's team and my business coach Luke from Thrivetime. It has been insane to say the least. I started working with them in mid-February of this year, so we're about 4 months in of working together, and it has completely transformed my business in pretty much every facet. So I'm gonna check my notes here. So in 4 months, my leads have tripled. I was getting probably like 2 leads a week. Now I'm getting more in the like 10 to 15 leads a week. I have doubled my number of employees. I'm now hitting the highest revenue weeks in the history of the company, week to week it seems like. We went from about 6 appointments today as our highest in February to now 14 to 15 appointments a day. And hiring quality employees has become much simpler and less stressful by using their systems for hiring. I typically only get maybe 2 complaints a month, if that, and everybody shows up to work. I just have really high quality employees now, especially in something people typically consider a high turnover type of work, you know, cleaning houses, cleaning businesses. I have amazing employees now, and I get rid of the ones who are not so amazing and bring on new ones because of, you know, group interviews and interviewing every single week. It's just been great, and such I don't waste as much time on low quality candidates anymore. And your coach will hold you accountable. I mean, which I love. Again, the tough love is really great. You know, Luke's like a stern father figure, but he's also nice, but also stern when he needs to be, when I'm being lazy and not doing the things that I know I need to do because I don't want to do them. So that's just great. Worth every penny. I mean, I'd pay him $1 million a month if I can, and maybe someday I'll be able to, but I would just say go for it. If it seems like a good fit, just go for it. Do what they say, even if you think it's stupid or ridiculous. Just do what they say because it'll work. You know, people, when they look at my business, you know, people in my town, they think I'm lucky. They think I'm just, you know, things just happen for me. And, you know, maybe I am lucky, but it has a lot to do with hard work and, you know, perseverance and, you know, working till you cry sometimes. That's just being an entrepreneur, which if you're a business owner, you understand that. But it's having these systems in place of, you know, of course I'm going to be successful. It's an absolute because I have all this stuff in the background happening, and I have Luke and Clay and everybody on their team working really hard to make sure that I'm a success. And I can tell that they are just so excited every single week when I'm having all these wins and things like that. They're so excited for me. So it's the best thing ever, and I would suggest to anybody to work with them. So sorry for the long-winded reply, but I just had so much to say, and I could go on for hours probably about how amazing they are. But thank you to Clay and Luke and the entire team there, everything you guys have done for me, and I am so excited to continue to work with you for years to come. Thanks so much for watching.
My saying is, if it's important to you, hire a coach. And I think that's one of the reasons people are not successful is they eat a cheeseburger instead of hiring a coach, you know what I mean? And so my coach pushes me. They're younger than me. They push harder. They're trained. And as my rich dad always said, you know, amateurs don't have a coach, but professionals always have coaches.
Okay, Aaron Antis, guess who's joining us for the December 4th and 5th, 2025 Thrivetime Show Business Growth Workshop? Whoa.
Ooh, Santa Claus?
No, we will not be joined by Santa Claus, but we will be joined by Eric Trump, the son of the 45th and now 47th President of these United States. And yes, Amanda Grace will be in the place. And yes, Dr. Stella Manuel will be there, so you know it will go well. Yes, we have Mel K in the house. Pastor Phil and Tammy Hotzenpiller will be hosting this event at their beautiful church right there in sunny Anaheim, California. Yes, folks, make this a December to remember. Make this a December to remember and join us at the 2-day interactive business growth workshops. For over 20 years, folks, I've been hosting business growth workshops where we're going to teach you marketing, sales systems, human resources, accounting, social media marketing, branding, sales training, search engine optimization, accounting, workflow development, financial management, all this and more. How do you get tickets? Go to thrivetimeshow.com. Again, how do you get tickets? Go to thrivetimeshow.com and request tickets today.
And now Eric Trump, people don't know this, but the Trump organization has thousands of employees. There's not 50 employees. The Trump organization, again, most people don't know this, but the Trump organization has thousands of employees. And while Donald J. Trump was the 45th president of these United States,
and this just in from our home office, President Donald J. Trump is now the 47th president of these United States as well.
I'm Ron Burgundy. He needed someone to run the companies for him. And so the man that runs the Trump organization for Donald J. Trump, as he was the 45th president of the United States and now the 47th president of the United States, is Eric Trump. And so Eric Trump is here to talk about time management, promoting from within, marketing, branding, quality control, sales systems, workflow design, workflow mapping, how to build. I mean, everything that you see, the Trump hotels, the Trump golf courses, all their products, the man who manages billions of dollars of real estate and thousands of employees is here to teach us how to do it.
You are talking about one of the greatest brands on the planet from a business standpoint.
Right.
I mean, who else has been able to create a brand like the Trump brand? I mean, look at it. And this is the man behind the business for the last pretty much since 2015. He's been the man behind it. So you're talking, we're into 9 going into 10 years of him running it, and we get to tap into that knowledge. That's going to be amazing.
Now, think about this for a second.
Nothing is over until we decide it is. Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor?
German? Forget it, he's rolling.
And it ain't over now.
The lineup continues to grow, and this is how we do our tickets here at the Thrivetime Show. If you want to get a VIP ticket, you can absolutely do it. It's $500 for a VIP ticket. We've always done it that way. Now, if you want to take a general admission ticket, it's $250 or whatever price you want to pay. And the reason why I do that, and the reason why we do that is because we want to make our events affordable for everybody. I grew up without money. I totally understand what it's like to be in a tight spot. So if you want to attend, it's $250 or whatever price you want to pay. That's how I do it. And it's $500 for a VIP ticket. Now, we only have limited seating here with...
There's a lot of togetherness and closeness, camaraderie.
So again, if you want to get tickets for this event, all you have to do is go to thrivetimeshow.com. Go to thrivetimeshow.com. When you go to thrivetimeshow.com, you'll go there, you'll request a ticket, boom. Or if you want to text me, if you want a little bit faster service, you say, I want you to call me right now. Just text my number. It's my cell phone number, my personal cell phone number. We'll keep that private between you, me, everybody. We'll keep that private. And anybody. Don't share that with anybody except for everybody. That's my private cell phone number. It's 918-851-0102. 918-851-0102. I know we have a lot of Spanish-speaking people that attend these conferences. And to be bilingually sensitive, my cell phone number is 918-851-0102.
That is not actually bilingual. That's just saying Juan for a one. It's not the same thing.
I think you're attacking me. Now, let's talk about this. Now, what kind of stuff will you learn at the Thrivetime Show workshop? So, Aaron, you've been to many of these over the past 7-8 years. So let's talk about it. I'll tee up the thing, and then you tell me what you're going to learn here, okay?
Okay. Yeah.
You're going to learn marketing and branding. What are we going to learn about marketing and branding?
Oh, yeah. We're going to dive into, so many people say, I got to get my brand known out there, like the Trump brand, right? You want to get that brand out there. It's like, how do I actually make people know what my business is and make it a household name? You're going to learn some intricacies of how you can do that.
You're going to learn sales. So many people struggle to sell something. This just in, your business will go to hell if you can't sell. So we're going to teach you sales. We're going to teach you search engine optimization, how to come up top in the search engine results. We're going to teach you how to manage people. Aaron, you have managed, no exaggeration, hundreds of people throughout your career and thousands of contractors. And most people struggle with managing people. Why does everybody have to learn how to manage people?
Well, because first of all, you either have great people or you have people who suck. And so it can be a challenge. Learning how to work with a large group of people and get everybody pulling in the same direction can be a challenge. But if you have the right systems, you have the right processes, and you're really good at selecting great ones, and we have a process we teach about how to find great people. When you start with the people who have a great attitude, they're teachable, they're driven, all of those things, then, you can get those people all pulling in the same direction.
So we're going to teach you branding, marketing, sales, search engine optimization. We're going to teach you accounting. We're going to teach you personal finance, how to manage your finance. We're going to teach you time management. How do you manage your time? How do you get more done during a typical day? How do you build an organization if you're not organized? How do you do organization? How do you build an org chart? Everything that you need to know to start and grow a business will be taught during this 2-day interactive business workshop. Now, let me tell you how the format is set up here. And again, folks, this is a 2-day interactive 15. Think about this, folks. It's 2 days. Each day it starts at 7 a.m. and it goes until 5 p.m. So from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., 2 days. It's a 2-day interactive workshop. The way we do it is we do a 30-minute teaching session, and then we break for 15 minutes for a question and answer session. So, Aaron, what kind of great stuff happens during that 15-minute question and answer session after every teaching session?
I actually think it's the best part about the workshops, because here's what happens. I've been to lots of these things over the years. I've paid many thousands of dollars to go to them. And you go in there and they talk in vague generalities, and they're constantly upselling you for something, trying to get you to buy this thing or that thing or this program or this membership. And you leave not getting your very specific questions answered about your business or your employees or what you're doing on your marketing. And what's awesome about this is we literally answer every single question that any person asks, and it's very specific to what your business is.
And what we do is we allow you as the attendee to write your questions on the whiteboard.
Yep.
And then we literally, as you mentioned, we answer every single question on the whiteboard. And then we take a 15-minute break to stretch. And this is also your opportunity to meet some of the great speakers like Pastor Dave Scarlett. You could meet Mel Kay. You could meet Amanda Grace. You could meet Dr. Stella Emmanuel. You could just grab a coffee. You could find some alone time. You could get lost in the bathroom. You could try to go and get a photo with one of the speakers. You could try to photobomb a photo where someone else is getting a photo with the speakers. You could go attempt to find your phone, wallet, and your keys.
My phone, wallet, keys, yeah, phone, wallet, keys.
Whoa.
Now that's a good idea.
Well, it's going to be great. And then you're in the company of hundreds of entrepreneurs. So there's not a lot of people in America today. In fact, there's less than 10 million people today, according to U.S. Debt Clock, that identify as being self-employed. So if you have a country with 350 million people, that means you have less than 3% of our population that's even self-employed. Yeah. So you only have 3 out of every 100 people in America that are self-employed to begin with. And when Inc. magazine reports that 96% of businesses fail by default, you have a 1 out of 1,000 chance of succeeding in the game of business. But yet the average client that you and I work with, we can typically double this. And this is no hyperbole, no exaggeration. And I have thousands of testimonials to back this up. We have thousands of testimonials to back it up. But when you work with a home builder, when I work with a business owner, we can typically double the size of the company within 24 months.
Yeah.
Double. And you say double? Yeah, there's businesses that we have tripled. There's businesses we've grown 8x. There's so many examples you can see at thrivetimeshow.com. But again, this is the most interactive, best business workshop on the planet. This is objectively the highest rated and most reviewed business workshop on the planet. Whoa. Add to that, Eric Trump, the man that runs the Trump Organization. You say, Clay, I'm not going to get a ticket unless you give me more. Okay, fine. We're going to serve you the same meal both days. True story. We cater in the food, and because I keep it simple, I literally bring in the same food both days for lunch.
Who's with me? Let's go! Come on!
It's an incredible Mexican restaurant. That's going to happen. Someone says, I want more. This is not enough.
Give me more.
Okay, I'm not going to mention their names right now because I'm working on it behind the scenes here. But we just continue to add more and more success stories. So if you're out there today and you want to change your life, you want to give yourself an incredible gift, you want a life-changing experience, you want to learn how to start and grow a company, go to thrivetimeshow.com. Go there right now. thrivetimeshow.com. Request a ticket for the 2-day interactive event. Again, the event's going to be on December 4th and 5th in sunny Anaheim, California. Great weather. Make this a December to remember. Eric Trump, the man who leads the Trump Organization. It's going to be a blasty blast. There's no upsells. Aaron, I could not be more excited about this event.
I think it is incredible. And there's somebody out there right now, you're watching and you're like, but I already signed up for this incredible other program called Smoke Your Way to Thin. I think that's going to change your life. I promise you, this will be 10 times better than that.
Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit smoking.
Now, don't do the Smoke Your Way to Thin conference. I've tried it. Don't do it.
Yeah, chain smoking is not a viable. I mean, it is life-changing. It is life-changing. If you become a chain smoker, it is life-changing.
Not the best weight loss program, though.
Right. Really. So if you're looking to have life-changing results in a way that won't cause you to have a stoma, get your tickets at thrivetimeshow.com. Again, that's Aaron Antis. I'm Clay Clark, and reminding you and inviting you to come out to the 2-day interactive Thrive Time Show workshop in beautiful Anaheim, California.
I'm Kay Dixon. I'm from Sarasota, Florida.
I'm Vince Suzuki, also from Sarasota, Florida.
He dragged me here.
Yep, was here in 2018, and it changed my business, and I built another business, and now I'm here to do it again with this business. So.
Yeah, I'm a brand strategist, and it's been really easy to go to a lot of events like this and just leave really in your head like what to do next. And already there's the strategic, step-by-step, real-life implementation that we can do to our business, and I'm so grateful to be here and very excited that Eric Trump is here, and that is going to be epic.
Hi, my name is Erica, and it has been amazing being here. The conference, I'm learning so much. Everything is perfect for me.
But that Clay Clark, man, he is one character.
It's a good word for him. Character. Yeah, that is it.
Good, driven, smart, and I've never met a guy who was so hyper all the time. He's doing so much good, and then I met his mother, and she just says, she just lets him be Clay Clark. I mean, so he's endorsed by his mother, and he's doing magnificent work. So it was great meeting you out there and all the people that he surrounds himself with. Clay Clark starts his days at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, it's incredible. Yeah, he's a machine. He's a machine.
Yeah. But I have problems with my company starting at 9 o'clock. Yes, hundreds of people showing up at 5 a.m. in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Man, he's a leader of a leader. He's a fantastic young man.
No, he is.
And the greatest thing that'll come out of all of it, aside from winning the presidency of the United States, we'll get to that in a second, was an everlasting friendship between Clay and I, because I'm telling you, there's not too many people in the world that have this man's backbone and his tenaciousness and his perseverance. And so, buddy, I love you. And to General Flynn, thank you. You guys are incredible. You guys are incredible warriors. You guys are incredible, incredible warriors. So thank you, my friend.
Clay Clark is here somewhere. Where's my buddy Clay? Clay's the greatest. I met his goats today. I met his dogs. I met his chickens. I saw his compound. He's like the greatest guy.
I ran from his goats, his chickens, his dogs.
So this guy's like the greatest marketer you've ever seen, right? His entire life, Clay Clark, his entire life is marketing.
4,000% from February to February. Now, I can better that. Okay, Clay, I don't think you know this. I don't think you know this. I'm pinching myself, and if I cry, forgive me. In the last 2.5 days, we have bettered our entire month of February in the last 2.5 days. So, and the phone's blowing up. Everything's just blowing up. You're right. It is like a rocket ship. So we're pinching ourselves, actually.
I learned at the Academy, Kings Point in New York, acta non verba. Watch what a person does, not what they say.
We're going to move into action mode here. So for anybody out there, if you say, I would like to go to Mar-a-Lago. Now, Jackson, you know that this just in, they raided Mar-a-Lago. You know about this? This just in. And so some people say, that wasn't cool. I didn't like that. But, so a lot of people out there, we want to kind of stick it to the New York Times. We want Eric to become the #1 best-selling author in America. And we kind of also want to go to Mar-a-Lago and check it out. We've never been there before. So what we're going to do is for anybody right now, if you go to Amazon right now and you buy a copy of Eric Trump's book, Under Siege, My Family's Fight to Save Our Nation. So you go to Amazon right now, you buy a copy of the book, and you just text a screenshot of your proof of purchase to my cell phone number, 918-851-0102. So text my number, 918-851-0102. So again, step one, you go here to Amazon.com, you buy a copy of the book, Under Siege, then you just text a screenshot of your purchase, your proof of purchase. You text my number, 918-851-0102. You have a chance to win a dinner at Mar-a-Lago with Eric Trump and myself, and there's more.
And by the way, Mar-a-Lago right there, just for your viewers, it's the most exclusive private club in the world. $2 million to get into, just base membership fee. And I promise we're going to make your night absolutely incredible. Clay goes, listen, why don't we do this? Why don't we put it out to all the amazing Reawaken people, all the people who supported us all around the country, all around, at every one of these conferences, who adore your family. We've got to beat the New York Times. The New York Times is going to do everything they can. Even though we're #1 on Amazon right now, we just hit #1 this morning. New York Times is going to do everything they can to keep you from being a #1 bestseller. You know that. I know that. You know the games that they're willing to play. But Clay goes, why don't we do a couple of things? First of all, love having dinner with Clay. He's the greatest. Second of all, why don't we bring one of the amazing people that I guarantee you I've been in front of at all these events. Why don't we bring a couple to dinner at Mar-a-Lago? And I said, absolutely, consider it done. So I said, they have to text you, Clay. They can't text me because we'll be getting 1,000 of these. But yeah, go buy a book, text Clay, and we'll set up a dinner. I'll make sure you guys have the absolute time of your life.
I'm going to pull this up again one more time here, Jackson, because I think sometimes I'm a poor communicator, and I need to work on communicating more effectively. So you go to Amazon. That's step one, okay?
Yes.
You buy a copy of the book, Pop Quiz. What book?
Under Siege.
You buy a copy of Under Siege, and then you screenshot a picture of that, and you text my phone number. It's 918-851-0102. And folks, that is my cell phone number. So we'll keep that private between you and me and everybody. And then when you text that to me, you have a chance to win a backstage pass to the actual in-person business workshop. That's a business growth workshop, December 4th and 5th, featuring Eric Trump in Anaheim, California. And you have a chance to win dinner with Eric Trump and myself at Mar-a-Lago. Now, someone says, when does this contest end? Now, Eric, your birthday was hijacked. Okay, so your birthday was hijacked. January 6th is this man's birthday. He now has to switch his birthday because no one wants to talk about his birthday on January 6th anymore. So we're going to run this promotion until November 5th. That's my birthday. So we're gonna,
no. So we're going to run it till October 14th.
October 14th.
Has to be pre-sale.
This just in. It has to be between October 14th. That's why we're clarifying. So between now and October 14th. Now, folks, let me just clarify this real quick here. So make sure I'm leaving you with some good clarity here. One, you buy a copy of Under Siege on Amazon. That's the step one.
Yep.
Step two, you text a screenshot of that purchase to my cell phone number, 918-851-0102. Three, you have to do that before October 14th. Before October 14th, this just in. It has to be before October 14th. And you have a chance to win a backstage pass to the upcoming business workshop. You have a chance to have dinner with Eric Trump at Mar-a-Lago. And I want to tell you some benefits of buying the book. One, I've read the book. It's incredible. If you're a father out there and you want to learn about mentoring your kids, it's a great book. If you want to learn about American history, it's a great book. If you want to make America great again, it is a great book. It's a book you got to have.
Now here is just a quick editor's note. You do not have to buy a copy of Eric Trump's book Under Siege to be entered into the drawing. Whoa. Just text the number. All you have to do is just text the number 918-851-0102 and you will be entered into the drawing for a chance to win a copy of Eric Trump's book Under Siege and a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to hang out with Eric Trump and Clay Clark at Mar-a-Lago and to win a backstage pass at the upcoming ThriveTimeShow.com 2-day interactive business workshop. Again, you do not have to buy a copy of the book to be entered into the drawing, but it would be great if you'd buy a copy of the book because that would make sense. However, that is all, and now back to the interview.
Also, Eric, a final question here for you. You are donating a portion of the proceeds to support Charlie Kirk in his continued mission there. Could you tell us about that briefly there, and then we'll let you get back to what you're doing today, sir?
Yeah, well, I was on with Benny Johnson. Benny Johnson was a great friend of Charlie Kirk's, as you know, and you know Benny, and Benny's a very good friend of mine, and, Kash Patel is a very good friend of mine, and was a very good friend of Charlie's. I mean, you watch everybody that's up on that stage every single day as they got to the bottom of exactly what happened, and they brought justice to what happened, or are trying to bring justice to what happened, and it's kind of unthinkable, but St. Jude, and I talk a lot about St. Jude in this book because that's been, fighting pediatric cancer has always been a cornerstone of my life. But Charlie truly was the epitome of being under siege, not only in the movement that he helped create, but obviously in how his life was savagely taken. My book came out 2.5 days before Charlie's assassination. You better believe he would have been the final chapter of this book as just another illustration of what these people will do at any cost to try and win, because it's who they are. It's the not so tolerant left, and we can never let our voices be extinguished. Clay, you stood on that stage as well as anybody I've ever seen stand on a stage. You did at Reawaken events all across the country, which you funded out of your back pocket because you believed in America, you believed in a greater country, and you were on that stage every single day. I was on that stage with you every single day, and I was on the Turning Point stage with Charlie all the time, and I was on stages across the country and 3 campaigns. I've stood on thousands of them, and honestly, they don't want us to stand on that stage. That's why they're sending bullets from rooftops. They don't want us to go out there with a bullhorn and have loud, independent thought, when they see these beautiful arenas full of kids and they're cheering, they're celebrating, they're holding American flags, they don't want that. And so they want to silence us. They want to silence our voice. That's why they killed Charlie. That's why they tried to kill my father. That's why they sent 112 subpoenas to me. That's why they wanted me in jail and my father in jail and Don in jail. That's why they made up the hoaxes. They wanted to see us destroyed and gone with no voice, with no money, with no company, with no political aspirations, gone. And we can't allow that to happen. And so we need to make sure that Turning Point continues. We need to make sure incredible patriots like you continue to spread, sensible speech, pro-American values, pro-religious, pro-constitutional values. And that's why I want to donate the funds to Turning Point. I want to donate, a portion of the funds to Turning Point, because we can't allow anarchy to win, and we can't allow voices to be deleted, and we need to keep Charlie's legacy going.
Eric Trump, thank you so much for joining us. Pastor Jackson, thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely.
Eric, have a great day. We really do appreciate you. Everybody go out there and buy that book, Under Siege. It's not too early to buy your Christmas gifts. And if you have a Democrat in your family, buy them a copy as well. Eric Trump, take care.
Thanks, guys. See you later.